What the? Whoa, what just happened there? I thought this was a peaceful game about making tea, but that kid just came out of nowhere. Well, it did seem like that in the last episode, huh? But now the ingredients on the train can materialize into beings and try to kill you? And did my guy just whip out a sword too? Well, if there's any game that I'm gonna create, you can bet that there's gonna be combat added to it, even if it's a game about making tea. So in this devlog, I will go through all of the new features that we've been working on. Did I say we? Well, you heard that right. I've been working on this solo project for quite some time now, but my good friend Robert offered to help out. So now we have an addition to the development team. Woo! Seriously, he's doing a massive favor for Caddies Tea Services programming, so hopefully progress will speed up from here on out. I've already had a lot more time to focus on art, so a big thanks to Rob, you're truly the best. So before we dive into all of the new features, I'm gonna get Robert to do a little introduction for himself.
Hello, my name is Robert, and I'm going to be helping Richie with the majority of the programming of the game. I'm not as good at pixel art or design as he is, but I was pretty confident that I could write some half-decent code for Caddies Tea Service. My first experience in programming was about 8 years ago in GameMaker, when I was still in high school and not really sure what I wanted to do. I was inspired by a lot of games back then, and even today, that drive me to want to become a developer. The list is pretty expansive, from classic RPGs such as the Final Fantasy series, which by the way, Crisis Core is my favourite, to gacha games such as Arknights, and even fighter games like Guilty Gear. However, none of these hold a candle to my biggest inspiration of all, the Touhou Project series, which is practically the reason I wanted to become a developer in the first place. The community has amazing fan projects and fan games, to the point where every piece of work is so inspirational that I can't help but want to join that culture myself. Of course, the official games are also amazing, with great character designs, music, and gameplay. However, I'm mostly a Soku player than a shooter player, so that was how I got inspired to start developing games, and what got me into programming. I knew nothing, and there wasn't really any classes for me to learn how to code early on, so I had to figure out a lot of stuff myself by looking at documentation, YouTube videos, etc. Nevertheless, I managed to press forward and accumulate a lot of experience in all sorts of languages and engines. I've got a pretty good handle of C#, C++, and Java in terms of making games in those languages, with a pretty good baseline of knowledge in some other languages such as Python, JavaScript, Haskell, etc. GameMaker, Unreal Engine, and Unity are the game engines I'm most familiar with, though lately I've been liking Unity a lot more, which makes it a shame that recent events are placing stress on my decision to continue with it. Regardless, I hope my broad experience of programming can bring a lot of value to Caddies Tea Service.
One of the first things that you may have noticed is that we have a HUD now. So at the top you'll notice that there's a health bar now. Yep, I don't want peace, I want problems. So from now on you're not guaranteed to survive every level anymore. At the bottom there's also a timer countdown, which will display how much time is left till the level is over. When designing the HUD, I used pixel art to keep it consistent with the game's art, and I wanted each HUD element to reflect the environment somehow. So for the hearts, they're actually tea bags with dried rose petals and leaves. Thought a heart-shaped tea bag would be a really cute idea instead of a simple heart. It also ties into that connection to tea, which I really like. If you get hit, the heart is halved, and if you get hit twice, the heart tea bag is fully depleted, leaving it empty. As for the timer, I kind of want it to be connected to a train, because at train stations they have a lot of signs, so I felt like I could really integrate that in somehow. And recently I went to Korea, and there was actually a train-inspired cafe. They even had like a railroad entrance. So when I went there, I was really looking for things to be inspired by for the game. And they had this really cool board where it would like flip to show like a new visual, and each kind of flip thing had a different design behind it. So I thought it would be cool to integrate that with the timer. So I was thinking that after every minute, I might make the screen of the board flip so that it will show the next minute, just to give like a cool indicator that a minute has gone down. I hope it's not too distracting when I animate it, but that's the idea for this board at the moment. Now for the fun part, combat. If you press X, you'll be able to draw out your sword that was gifted to you from the Tea Master. The art of the blade is a vital skill required to becoming a Tea Master in Caddies Tea Service. The train that you are currently on holds a lot of powerful energy, allowing it to travel to any location through the skies, overseas, and maybe even underseas. Because of the train's powerful energy, it seeps into the ingredients, giving them life and awakens the ingredients as they materialize into creatures. Once they spawn, they will try to attack you. Hey, don't look at me like I'm crazy. Honestly, if you ask me, this is just self-defense. I would try beating you up too if you tried tracking me into a boiling pot. Some all for the ingredient protecting themselves. So yeah, as well as making tea, you've now got to worry about enemies trying to kill you. But before I can kill the player base, before I can make an enemy, I need a design. So as you guys may know from my previous video, the star anise was my favorite ingredient. This one's definitely my favorite ingredient because I like its shape. Reminds me of a starfish. So you'd think that that would be the first enemy I create, and you would be right. But this was a year ago when I first made the star anise, and their design is a little bit outdated. I decided to work on a different enemy instead, and that was the lily bud. So first I started off thinking about how I could incorporate the actual lily bud ingredient into the design, and I thought it would be really cute if I made the creature's hat a lily and had the dangling lily buds to be like an accessory, kind of like an Australian cork hat. So I guess the first enemy that I designed is Australian. G'day mate. That's going to be its unofficial nationality. And as for the sword, I made it an actual lily bud, as the ingredient already looks long like a sword, so I thought it was perfect. So if you come close to the enemy and enter their radius, they will detect you and start approaching you. Once they're close enough, they'll attack you. If they attack you, your hearts will deplete, and their attack will be on cooldown before they can do the next attack. While they're on cooldown, they will enter a wary state where they will back away, basically to avoid any retaliation or incoming presence. I didn't want the enemy to just let you easily hit them once they were in cooldown, so I made this state so they could kind of back away and make it a little bit more difficult for you to land a hit on them. When you get attacked, you'll also have some frames of invincibility. We did this in the case that there were like multiple enemies. I didn't want them to just like hack away at you and deplete your health into oblivion, so we wanted to make some time for you to be able to gather yourself after being attacked. So you could avoid it or you could run away. Gives you the opportunity to do that. If you successfully beat the enemy, they will drop an ingredient, which is the same ingredient that they materialized from. This ingredient will be different from the ones you get from the dispensers, as it is shiny, and these are prime ingredients. Prime ingredients and dispense ingredients are different. They are considered to be prime ingredients as they are at the highest quality of form. They are such high quality ingredients that they are able to come to life from the energy of the train. So when you defeat them, you get the highest quality of tea ingredient. This is what sets Caddies Tea service apart from any other tea service. We have updated the brewing mechanic and made it a little bit more clear and complex. We also have a ranking system for our recipes, bronze being the worst rank and gold being the best. With all of these new obtainable ranks, it could really overcrowd the cooking system visually. So we decided to break up the brewing process into 2 displays. So right now I'm in the ingredient adding brew phase, adding all the necessary ingredients to make my tea. Once the timer has fully depleted, I'm now in the steeping phase. I can't add any more ingredients in here even if I try. In this phase, the tea is ready to be collected. However, you may have noticed that there are 3 different bars. So you may be wondering, which bar should we collect the tea from? It's all about timing really. If I get the tea in the first bar, it will give a silver ranking. This is because the ingredients has infused into the water at a decent level, however it still is not at the optimal level. So the taste of the tea will be a little bit lighter than the next ranking. If I get the tea in the second bar, I will get a green star, which is second to gold. This is when the tea is at its tastiest, as all of the ingredients have had long enough to infuse, allowing the flavors to show through well. If I get the tea in the last bar, you'll get a bronze star. The ingredients have oversteeped in the tea, which means that the ingredients have over-extracted, making the tea taste kinda bitter and not as pleasant for the customer. You may be wondering, how do I get the best rank, which is the gold star? Well, my high achiever, you will need to use prime ingredients from the enemies. If all of the ingredients used are prime, you will get a gold second bar instead of the green one. If you serve this to your customers, they will be very pleased and be sure to give you an extra bonus. We've also made some quality of life changes to adapt to the new systems. Now that there are enemies dropping ingredients, there may be a high volume of these ingredients dropping everywhere. Make a rain, make a rain. So we made the ingredients stackable. Now you can have multiple of the same ingredients all in one place. However, the only rule is that you won't be able to stack the dispense ingredients with the prime ingredients. Thank you again to my best friend Robert, who has been an amazing and great help. And I'm pretty sure that's all for the updates. I hope that you guys look forward to more content. Any support makes my day. please look out for more content that we release. I'm even thinking about making some TikTok videos to showcase the game. I really like making small aesthetic videos, so I think TikTok is a great platform for me to post these types of clips. So if you want to see that, I'll link the TikTok. It's good to see that the game is becoming a little bit more livelier with more entities. I actually had a lot of fun voicing this video. I think I'm getting a little bit more comfortable talking. You would not want to see how horrible the process of recording was the first time I did it. I recorded the same parts over and over again, but this time I didn't have to do that as much. So yeah, it's actually really fun filming these and talking to you guys. Thanks so much for watching, everybody, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.